Hey everyone, Sorry Now Roxas here. I'm just gonna skip the intro because I I literally just finished recording this review. I had to start over because I got a phone call and it just threw me off. I had no idea what I was talking about and I was just rambling on, rambling on. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's make this really quick. I'm not gonna say why I haven't been making videos in a while. Nobody cares. I don't care. So Doctor Strange. What I can say about the film. That's just right off the back. It's a good film. Okay? I don't really have that many complaints. I only possibly have two, and that's it. Now, I went into this film not knowing anything about Doctor Strange. The same thing I did with Ant-Man. Although I do consider Ant-Man possibly the weakest, if not the weakest, out of the newer Marvel films. Excluding, what is it, Fantastic Four? God. Okay, that was just bad. That made my worst list. Ant-Man, on the other hand, actually made my honorable mentions list. I don't think it made my top 10. I'll have to go back and see the video on that back in 2015. But yeah, so I went into Doctor Strange just like I did with Ant-Man, and I came out actually enjoying this a lot more than not only I thought I would, but a lot more than Ant-Man himself, and that's mostly because of not just the cast, and Ant-Man had a good cast, but the cast itself here. Benedict Cumberbatch does a fantastic job as playing Doctor Strange. I see him as Doctor Strange now. I think possibly, like I said a moment ago, the only two things I have problems with it, well, the first one is freaking hilarious, and everyone's talking about the car crash scene and how it was just ridiculously fast and just over the top. It is. And all he comes out of it with is just his hands are, well, shaking now. And that's very hard for someone who starts off as being a very cocky doctor who feels like he can do anything. He has the world at his fingertips. And this sort of knowledge that he has about the medical field makes him feel like he's in control, and you know what? He is in control. He's the best doctor there at the hospital. It's already established, and yeah, people have said he kind of got a Tony Stark personality, and it is there a little bit. I didn't see it as much, but in terms of that cockiness and sort of confident, like, oh, I can do this. I'm the best fucking thing here. Yes, that's definitely him. I don't feel as though it was that big of a problem for me. It didn't take me out of the movie. He also pulls off a pretty good American accent. I didn't have any problem with that as well. But this car crash that everyone's talked about, and I seen this movie in 3D. Let me just say first before I get to that, the cinematography in this is beautiful. It's sort of like they took that idea of Inception, of kind of bending reality, you know, when the buildings flip around and they're running on the ceiling and whatnot in Inception. Where Inception, they brought up the idea that it's a dream within a dream, that sort of thing. Here, they use it as just bending a reality and taking it into another dimension and doing that. I like that idea of going back and forth between dimensions and into like a darker version of the world that can be bent to the will of the user. That all that mystical stuff that they bring in is definitely influenced by Eastern culture, and it works very well here. Now, I don't know how accurate it is compared to the comic books, because like I said, I don't know anything about Doctor Strange. He's like one of the only people next to Ant-Man, which I haven't really researched, and they've made a movie about him. Guardians of the Galaxy I knew about, I just didn't know a lot about them, but at least I knew something about them. Although I found their adventures very uninteresting, and hell, that movie surprised me. So, who else is looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? I know I am. So, it was no surprise that Doctor Strange actually came out and did the same thing. Well, and it also happened with Deadpool as well. I didn't know too much about Deadpool until I saw the film, and I was like, okay, this like literally blew my expectations out of the water, and I'm so glad that it did. It definitely deserves any rating that it gets. Hell, I'm gonna go ahead and give it 4 stars right now. Or possibly 3.5, mostly because I'll put a final rating in the description, mostly because the villain, and the villain's a little lackluster, and this seems to be a problem with a lot of the Marvel movies, at least. I know in the comic books the villains are a little bit better, a little smarter, a little bit more in depth. Hell, there's even some villains that you can compare to DC villains who are just absolutely fantastic in terms of the ideology and what they pursue is their ultimate goal. A lot of them just doesn't want to destroy the world. They just want to watch the world burn. That sort of thing from The Dark Knight. And I know that's from the movie, but as far as like comic books go, DC and Marvel can be almost in the same range. I will put DC a little bit higher than Marvel because I find their villains a lot more interesting. But when it comes to the movies, Marvel is just kind of cookie cutter base and just, this guy's evil, no chance of redemption whatsoever. This villain is a little bit different because he's not doing this to take over the world or destroy the world for humanity's sake. Like, in order to save humanity, I must destroy it, sort of like how Ultron tried to preach in the second Avengers movie, which I've talked about, and I was just like, I'm so tired of that line. I'm so tired of humanity takes their lives for granted and they must be destroyed in order to rebuild the world in a perfect form. And it's just, I am so sick of that. I've heard that in thousands of superhero stuff. It's such bullshit now. Like when I first heard it, I was like, oh man, you know, this was something new back in the 90s. Now it's not new. It's been like, how old am I? 25? It's been 25 years. I've been hearing the same story. 25 to 23 years, I've been hearing the same story. Okay. So that's enough of that. This villain is different because he actually has all this power, as he was taught by the Ancient One, to use some of these extra exceptional sixth sense type of abilities, but he knows that it can't save him from, let's say, something like death, for example. So he actually really wants eternal life, and he would do anything to get it, even causing a distortion in our world by releasing this sort of evil entity from the darkness, which I've never heard mentioned in anything Marvel related until now. So I don't know if it's just Doctor Strange movie or whether it's in the comic books. It was a little weird to see this sort of massive creature, a humanoid monster that lives in the darkness, that it seems like something Thor would know about. And I don't know, it seems like he would be sort of a threat, but I guess he's not a threat because Doctor Strange and the rest of the sorcerers are actually protecting us from this other world that we just don't know about. So I guess it's understandable that maybe somebody like Thor possibly wouldn't know about it, which that's kind of giving away what happens in the credits, but I apologize, a little bit of a spoiler there. But the film itself is fine. Like I said, besides the villain, oh, and that car crash, yeah, that car crash was a little ridiculous. What people have said about it, it's ridiculous. Like I say, he only comes out of it with just his hands, mostly just kind of broken beyond repair, but he's still able to use them. He just shakes a whole lot. It's uncontrollable shake that's literally driving him crazy, and then that leads him to become the Doctor Strange that we know with the red cape and everything like that. Out of this entire crash, which looks fantastic in 3D, by the way, I normally don't go to 3D movies, and I talked about this in Suicide Squad as well, because I also went to go see that in 3D. This time I actually wanted to go see it in 2D, but I didn't buy the tickets this time around. So we went to the 3D showing, and my God, I'm actually happy that I didn't get as nauseous as I did with Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, I guess it's because there was so much movement going on that I actually felt like I had to throw up, and I was getting some motion sickness. It's so weird. I've never gotten that. Even while I'm driving crazy and fast, I've never gotten that while I'm in my car. But for some reason, I get it with certain movies, and Doctor Strange started to get it after a while, especially when they're fighting upside down and shit, and the camera's turning around and all this shit is moving around, and it looks so good in 3D because the cinematography is beautiful. But I felt like I wanted to throw up at least twice. I was just like, and it could just be me. A lot of people seem to not have a problem when I put on the 3D glasses over my glasses. I don't know why. It just feels so weird. But with Suicide Squad, I was sitting more to the front row. This time I was sitting towards the middle row. because the movie theater was packed, but it wasn't as packed as Suicide Squad on its second night. I actually went to go see this on Tuesday, and I'm just now reviewing this on Saturday going into Sunday because it's actually almost midnight here. Yeah, so if you can handle like shit moving around and upside down and things like that, I almost left, like as soon as it stopped, my head literally stopped hurting. Like as soon as they started talking normally and the camera was fixed, I was like, okay, I feel a whole lot better all of a sudden. It was so freaking weird. So that's my other problem, but that's a personal problem. I doubt anybody else would have much of that problem because I haven't been hearing any complaints about that. Even with that being said, I still recommend going and seeing it on IMAX 3D because it's just beautiful. This is one of the only films that isn't animated that I will recommend to you in 3D. I think I did Wreck-It Ralph back in 2012. I recommended that, and I saw that in 3D, and that looks fantastic. Or, it did look fantastic at the time. It's where animated movies seem to come across better in 3D for me than live action movies do. But Doctor Strange is an exception. Like, going to see Suicide Squad in 3D, that's not going to do anything for you. That didn't really do anything for me. It didn't add or take away from the film at all. With this, the experience kind of adds on. So when I get Doctor Strange and I have to watch it on my small TV, it's not going to feel the same. But seeing it in 3D and seeing them do the mystical arts and stuff, that was really cool. So I'm not going to talk about this movie anymore. Actually, let's see how long I've been talking. I've been talking for about 11 minutes. I'm possibly just going to go ahead and end this review here. I don't really want to spoil anything, and I know people who really want to see it have already saw it already. But if you just wanted my opinion, if I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there, it's a good film. You guys should definitely go and check it out, man. I really recommend it. So 3.5 out of 4. I have to take that half away just because of that villain, man. And he wasn't bad. You know, the actor, whose name I can't remember right now, did a good job, but he's just sort of a cookie-cutter villain. You know, I did the same thing with Age of Ultron. I had to take part of the rating away because it's just the same old speech, and they was hammering in like it was something freaking new about humanity should suffer because they've taken advantage of their world and their resources, and humans are flawed and blah blah blah. That's not here, but it's still, for the most part, is a cookie cutter villain. He just wants eternal life, but he will end life in order to save life? Save his life, I guess? That's the thing that they're going for. He's a dick. That's pretty much it. He's just an asshole. He's working for an even bigger asshole. Okay? But yeah, so that's my review on Doctor Strange. This was pretty short. I actually thought that I was going to go on for a little bit longer, but kind of with Star Trek Beyond, there's not really much to say about that. I love this film more than Star Trek Beyond, by the way, and I like Star Trek Beyond. But a good film, definitely check it out if you haven't already. Hell, go back to see it twice. I would love to see it again. I mean, that's how much I really enjoyed this film. But even with that being said, possibly wouldn't go see it again in 3D, even though I'm recommending 3D. Isn't that fucking backwards? But, like, see it once in 3D, and like I said, if you get, like, the headache like I did, you possibly, if you go see it again, you possibly see it in 2D like I want to do, or I might try to do. But yeah, definitely see it in 3D first, and then, you know, tell me what you think about that. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching. Dragon Ball Super, this next episode is supposed to come out. Maybe I'm going to do a video on that. Well, we got a certain character coming back after about 19 years of not being on screen. So that's going to be interesting. But okay, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.